Look around today and you'll notice something strange. Men everywhere, smart men, successful men, men who once dreamed of building families, now choosing silence and solitude instead. Not because they can't find love, but because love itself has become a gamble few are willing to take. The rules of the dating game have shifted so dramatically that what once felt like partnership now feels like a transaction. High risk, low reward. Every man knows someone who lost everything: his peace, his savings, his confidence, sometimes even his children. And so, men have begun to opt out, not out of bitterness, but out of logic. They're asking themselves, why invest everything into a system that no longer values them? Why chase connection in a culture that mocks their effort and rewards manipulation? The truth is uncomfortable. Modern men aren't afraid of love. They're afraid of losing themselves in the process. Number 1, men have realized that love and marriage bring more risk than reward. For centuries, love and marriage were sacred institutions that gave men purpose. A man worked, fought, and sacrificed, not just for himself, but for his family. But in the modern world, that equation has changed. Marriage is no longer a partnership. It has become a contract filled with danger, especially for men. What was once a symbol of unity has turned into a gamble where one mistake can cost a man his freedom, his fortune, and his future. The truth is uncomfortable, but undeniable. The system no longer protects men. Divorce laws, alimony, and child custody systems are overwhelmingly biased. In most cases, when a marriage ends, it is the man who loses everything. The house he built, the savings he earned, and the children he loves, all can be taken from him within a courtroom that calls it justice. Society sympathizes with the woman, no matter the context. The man, on the other hand, is portrayed as the villain by default. This legal imbalance has psychological consequences. Men have learned, often through the suffering of others, that love in the modern age is not just emotional risk, it's financial suicide. One wrong woman can destroy decades of effort. One false accusation can erase a reputation. In a world where women are empowered to leave whenever they don't feel happy, men are left with no protection, no stability, and no trust. So men adapt, not by fighting the system, but by withdrawing from it. They choose solitude over submission, freedom over fear. They build lives that don't depend on romantic validation. They invest in careers, hobbies, and self-improvement, things that cannot betray them. These men are not bitter. They are logical. They have simply calculated the risk-to-reward ratio and found that love, in its modern form, no longer makes sense. Meanwhile, women mistake this withdrawal for weakness or immaturity. They say, men are afraid of commitment. But fear is not the right word. Awareness is. Men are not afraid of love. They are afraid of losing everything because of it. They are afraid of a system that punishes devotion and rewards abandonment. They are afraid of giving their all to someone who has the power to destroy them with a single decision. Machiavelli once said that a wise man never places his fortune in the hands of another. Modern men have learned this lesson through pain. They understand that in today's world, marriage is no longer a promise of partnership, but a battlefield disguised as romance. And until the rules change, the smartest men will continue to stay single. Not because they hate women, but because they finally love themselves enough not to gamble their lives for affection. Number 2, modern women set unrealistic and hypergamous standards. One of the main reasons so many men remain single for years is because the modern dating marketplace has become a game rigged against the average man. Women, influenced by social media, feminism, and consumer culture have developed expectations that no ordinary man can meet. The average woman today believes she deserves an extraordinary man, one who is tall, wealthy, charming, emotionally intelligent, dominant, yet gentle, ambitious, but always available. She doesn't want a partner. She wants a fantasy. Social media plays a central role in creating this illusion. Every day, women scroll through endless pictures of luxurious lifestyles, perfect relationships, and men who seem to have it all. The constant exposure to the top 1% of men distorts perception. When a woman compares her real-life options to what she sees online, she becomes dissatisfied. A man earning an honest living, who is loyal and stable, is no longer enough. In her eyes, he is invisible. This is hypergamy, the instinct to seek the best possible mate, amplified by technology. In ancient times, a woman's circle was limited to the men in her tribe or village. Now, with a few swipes on her phone, she can meet thousands of men worldwide. The illusion of infinite choice makes her believe she can always do better. And because of that illusion, she never truly commits. She's always waiting for the next best thing. Men, on the other hand, feel the effects deeply. When they realize that no matter how hard they work, they will never be enough for women who live in comparison, they lose motivation. The sense of being constantly measured, judged, and discarded like a product breaks their spirit. Many men simply stop trying. They retreat from the dating scene entirely, choosing solitude over humiliation. The irony is cruel. As women chase perfection, they destroy the very thing that could make them happy: genuine connection. They complain that there are no good men left, not realizing that the good men left the game because the rules became impossible. Hypergamy, once a survival instinct, has turned into a psychological trap. It convinces women that settling is failure, and it convinces men that love is a losing battle. The result is a silent separation between the sexes. Women wait for a man who doesn't exist, and men give up on a system that no longer rewards effort. Both sides lose, but the tragedy begins with unrealistic expectations, born not out of malice but out of illusion. Number 3, the culture of happy singleness and casual sex weakens commitment. In the modern world, we are witnessing a silent revolution in relationships, a cultural shift that glorifies independence, pleasure, and emotional detachment. What used to be considered the foundation of love, loyalty, patience, and mutual effort has now been replaced by fleeting pleasures and self-centered pursuits. The popular slogan, "single and happy," has evolved from being a temporary phase into a permanent lifestyle for millions of women. It's no longer about waiting for the right person. It's about believing you don't need anyone at all. This shift has been fueled by decades of media, feminism, and sexual liberation movements, preaching that commitment equals weakness. Women are encouraged to live for themselves, explore their options, and never settle. The problem, however, is that this mindset has destroyed the balance between freedom and responsibility. When freedom becomes the only value, responsibility disappears, and with it, so does love. Relationships turn into negotiations of convenience rather than bonds of trust. Sex becomes transactional, a tool for validation, or worse, a way to prove independence rather than intimacy. Men, on the other hand, have started to observe and react. They see how easily loyalty is dismissed, how easily affection can be withdrawn, and how easily they can be replaced. The modern woman, armed with social media validation and an abundance of temporary partners, rarely invests deeply. Her affection has become conditional, her interest fleeting. And when men realize that commitment no longer has meaning, They simply withdraw. Why would a man invest his time, money, and emotions into a system that rewards detachment and punishes devotion? The culture of casual sex and emotional independence has created a paradox. People crave connection but fear vulnerability. Women say they want love, but act in ways that destroy it, treating relationships as disposable, men as entertainment, and affection as a game. Meanwhile, men who once dreamed of being providers and protectors now feel unwanted, unseen, and unappreciated. Many of them turn away, not because they hate women, but because they are tired of being used as emotional experiments. Ultimately, the happy single culture is not empowering, it's isolating. It convinces women that freedom means loneliness disguised as strength, and it convinces men that love is a trap designed to drain them. The result is a generation disconnected from real intimacy, one where both sexes are afraid to trust, to commit, and to love without calculation. Commitment has become a relic of the past, replaced by comfort, control, and constant self-gratification. And until society recognizes that freedom without purpose leads only to emptiness, both men and women will continue living parallel lives, close in distance, but worlds apart in spirit. Number 4. Modern women have lost their femininity and respect for men. There was a time when the relationship between men and women was built on a simple but powerful exchange. Men offered protection, direction, and strength, while women offered warmth, understanding, and grace. This balance created harmony. Men felt needed, women felt cherished. But in today's world, that balance has been shattered. Modern women have been told that to be equal to men, they must become men, emotionally hardened, assertive, dominant, and even confrontational. They were taught to see softness as weakness, dependence as humiliation, and nurturing as outdated. The result is a generation of women who compete with men instead of complementing them. And men, in return, no longer see the point in giving their strength to someone who doesn't value it. A man's deepest instinct is not to dominate a woman, but to protect and lead her, to feel that his presence has meaning. But when a woman mocks his leadership, questions his every decision, and insists on always being right, she kills that instinct inside him. He doesn't fight back, he simply withdraws. He becomes distant, detached, and emotionally cold. This is why so many relationships today feel like silent wars. Two people battling for control instead of dancing in balance. Respect is the oxygen of masculine energy. Without it, a man cannot breathe, cannot love, cannot serve. When a woman treats him like an accessory or a project to be improved, she suffocates his spirit. She may win the argument, but she loses the man. And ironically, when men pull away, these same women complain that men are emotionally unavailable. They never realize they created that emptiness themselves. True femininity is not about submission. It is about power expressed through softness. It is the art of influencing without commanding, guiding without controlling, and loving without conditions. A feminine woman doesn't compete with a man's strength. She amplifies it. She understands that admiration is not weakness. It is the fuel that makes a man want to rise higher. When women lost their respect for men, they unknowingly destroyed the very bridge that connected the two sexes. Modern dating now feels like a marketplace of egos, not a union of souls. Men are no longer motivated to pursue, to commit, or to build families, because the reward, the feeling of being valued and admired, has vanished. If women truly want love again, they must rediscover the forgotten language of respect. Not the kind that worships men blindly, but the kind that understands their nature and honors their efforts. Because when a woman gives a man respect, he gives her the world. Number 5. Modern men understand the true value of freedom. Something remarkable is happening among modern men, a quiet awakening. After decades of being told that their worth depends on how well they serve others, many men are finally realizing that their freedom is priceless. For generations, men were raised to believe that success meant marriage, sacrifice, and providing endlessly. But today, more and more of them are stepping back and asking, for what? For whom? They have begun to see that in the modern world, relationships often come with unrealistic expectations and emotional exhaustion. Instead of being appreciated for their loyalty or effort, men are often criticized, compared, or taken for granted. The message they receive is clear. No matter what you do, it's never enough. So, they've decided to reclaim what's theirs: their time, their peace, and their freedom. Being single no longer feels like loneliness. It feels like liberation. Men are discovering the quiet power of solitude, the ability to think freely, build wealth, travel, learn, and grow without being judged or manipulated. They no longer have to explain why they work late, why they choose the gym over dinner, or why they prefer peace over drama. Freedom gives them control over their energy, and that, to a man, is sacred. Many men have also learned that in today's dating market, emotional investment rarely pays off. They've seen friends lose everything: money, time, dignity, just to please someone who saw them as replaceable. They've watched how commitment is mocked and masculinity is shamed, and so they step away. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. They understand now that peace of mind is more valuable than approval, and purpose is greater than validation. A man who embraces freedom begins to rebuild himself. He spends his energy on self-mastery instead of chasing affection. He finds meaning in discipline, purpose in solitude, and pride in his independence. The more he grows, the less he needs external validation. The modern man no longer seeks to be enough for someone else. He strives to be complete for himself. This awakening is not hatred toward women. It's a rejection of imbalance. It's a quiet revolution of men who refuse to be emotionally exploited or socially shamed for wanting control over their own lives. They've realized that a man who depends on female approval is not free. True freedom begins when a man stops asking for permission to live as he chooses. Today's men are not running from love. They are running toward peace. They are choosing to build their own empires, their own values, and their own happiness on their terms. They've learned that freedom is not loneliness, it's sovereignty. And once a man tastes that, the power of owning his time, his mind, and his direction, he can never go back. At the end of the day, love in the modern world is no longer a fair exchange. It has become a negotiation of power, ego, and fear. Men are not rejecting love itself. They are rejecting a system that no longer values their effort or loyalty. Many have realized that peace, self-growth, and solitude are better than chasing validation that never comes. Yet, there is still a quiet hope that one day men and women will meet again, not as rivals, but as partners, willing to understand, respect, and build something genuine together. Real love doesn't demand. It gives. It doesn't control. It connects. And perhaps, when we stop playing games, love will finally return to its true form. If this message resonated with you, share your opinion in the comments. Do you think men are right to stay single? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. for more deep conversations about relationships, psychology, and human nature. Your voice and support help keep the truth alive.